Welcome to Inside the Cardinal Playbook. I'm Rick Cole with Tim Crone, and later on we will have head coach Shawn Weigel with us. A disappointing game on Saturday, a game we thought we could have won against Truman State, and your feeling is pretty evenly matched teams.
Yeah, two evenly matched teams. I think you're going to see the frustration with Coach. I think he felt like he had the opportunity to win that ball game. I did too. I felt like we got out-executed in this ball game. I think it was two evenly matched, talented teams. Well coached. Coach Nesbitt's excellent, and our staff's doing a great job. And that's where we're at. We've got to realize that our margin of error is very slim, and we've got to execute at a high level. We've got to be more consistent.
Well, I would say that probably at this point we have a team that is consistently inconsistent.
Right.
Again, got off to a slow start, down 17-0. But Nick West came back, had a career high in yards, threw 4 touchdown passes. Defense played well at times, but again, maybe a little overmatched with some injuries in the secondary. That's all stuff you'll talk to Shawn Weigel about.
Absolutely, that's something we'll get to in those segments. And it's a long season. You're going to have to have injuries, so injuries is not an excuse. Consistency is the key, I think, in this today we were talking about.
All right, Shawn Weigel joins us in a moment inside the Cardinal Playbook.
In backyards, sandlots, and neighborhoods across Kansas City,
He winds up for the pitch.
the dream begins. For lifelong fans of America's favorite pastime.
2 outs, bottom of the ninth. And
For the past 10 years,
tied up.
we've been proud to support the Kansas City Royals and their loyal fans.
It's a long play to center, and it's out of here.
Especially the Dreamers. Hy-Vee, an official sponsor of the Kansas City Royals.
Cardinal fans, welcome back to this edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. And Coach, we're coming off, I thought, a tough loss. I thought, just looking at it as an observer, two very equal teams, well coached. Coach Nesbitt, I have a really high regard for, and you as well and your staff. And so why don't you just talk about the game in general?
Yeah. Here we are again talking about getting consistent play, and it's getting really old.
Yeah.
I was playing 4 quarters because it's something that we did not do again. There's stretches of really good football, and then there's other times where we kill ourselves. And when you self-inflict wounds, those are hard to swallow.
Yeah.
Because you think you've prepared for everything, and just mental bust and things that are game-changing that you can't do. Because we're not there yet. We can't overcome those things.
That's what I think today I would want our fans to understand is that we are building this program in the right direction, and that's obvious, and I think people can see that. But in the same token, they have to understand that our margin of error is very slim. Mm-hmm. And when we don't do the things that we're supposed to do, or and humans are going to do that in the course of a football game, and like at Southwest Baptist, we were able to overcome that. But again, you had to be disappointed with the beginning of the football game. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? Get that off your chest and be negative, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, it's certainly not the way you want to start. I think we spotted them 14 points or something, and again, just poor decisions, and stuff that we know better. If you were to ask, well, what are we supposed to do in this situation, we'd be able to tell you. But then maybe forcing the issue, trying to do too much,
right?
And especially when you have an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done in 18 years, and that's win 4 in a row. And but in order to get over those things, you have to relax and play and play with a lot of confidence. And we were just off a little bit on Saturday, and it was hard to explain, but this one was extremely difficult to swallow because I don't think we
played up to your capabilities.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't play up to our capability, and that's frustrating.
Well, let's talk a little bit about technical thing, and I thought strength on strength. They came in on their kickoff team as one of the number 3, I think Rick said, in the country, and we were the best kickoff return team in the country. And the pooch kicking and the stuff that they did, I thought was very interesting. And the games you were playing, it was fascinating because you would move people through. That was your up guys and try to play games because you moved ballings up to the up back to that side they were kicking to. But we still got the football coach probably on the average, and I don't know if you figured this up with your staff, but 30, 35 yard line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were doing some different things. strategy there where it.
Well,
plays
it's
out.
not like he hasn't coached before, too.
Right, and that's good. Probably exactly what I would do,
Sure.
reversing the role as well. So it makes it fun when people do things like that instead of just kicking it. And then they kick it deep to Cook, and you got to be careful doing that too. Yeah, that was part of the strategy. And I think they kicked a couple out of bounds.
Yeah, which is what you want them to do.
Yeah.
So you really was able for them to really take that under consideration, but you still took advantage of it in that part of it. Looking at your defense a little bit early in the ball game, we've had that 7 to 8 man rotation up front, and we were a little thin. We had a couple guys that didn't dress because of injuries, and I thought it took us a while to get our feet on the ground with the new rotation. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, and a little bit. And the other thing we talked about starting fast. The last 2 weeks ago we did. This week we didn't. And it's like getting everything on the same page. I don't know why it has to be this difficult, but if we go out there offense first, well, we don't score. We have a turnover or 3 and out, something that happens. If we go out on defense first, then we give up a long drive for a touchdown. So those things can't happen. We're just constantly. Why don't we just put 7 on the board and let's go? Go ahead and go play the game. But so I guess those things we need to learn from, and I've got to be more sharp as well. A call there at the end, I went for it on 4th and 9. And I was like, well, we need to score now, or we may not have the opportunity again. So, but I don't know.
Okay, one other technical point, and I kind of schooled you for this before we started the show, but this is just my opinion. I wanted to bring it up in the show. We threw 52 times. And really, I think most coaches in most situations, and now it's a spread look, and this is what you do, and you do it very well, by the way. We got to remember he threw for 395, 400 yards. But to throw 52 times in a game puts a situation I think most coaches would rather have more balance, probably, if they possibly could. But your strength is your passing game because you have excellent receivers. They couldn't cover Mullins on the post all day. You had to feel good about that.
Yeah, we did, and that's where you see, the number of we had people wide open.
Wide open.
Eventually, you're going to hit them, and we did, and that's we had 395 and 4 touchdowns. Had the interception and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, we'd like to have more balance, and that leads to time of possession and things of that nature. But
you got to do what moves the ball.
Yeah, we were open.
Yeah, you're right, and a couple other times there was some posts and basically go routes that were open. I mean, if we hit them, we scored 3 more touchdowns,
Yep.
But there's so much that goes into it. I thought the pass protection overall, let's talk about that a little bit because we did throw 52 times. I thought it was solid.
Yeah, they did a good job. We need to be a little bit more firm in the middle, and those guys realized that, but they did a good job. We were pretty clean. I think there was 1 sack, maybe.
Right.
But that's pretty good out of 52 attempts. But, so we did a nice job up front and with the backs picking up things as well. But didn't work out for us.
We're really looking in next segment. We're going to talk about our opponent next week with Indianapolis. But the Star, by the way, I try to keep up with the political end. They actually had our conference in there in the Sunday paper, along with the SEC and the ACC and the Big Ten and the Big Pac-12, which is good, and the MIAA. That's what we're looking for. And this league now, Indy's at the top. And the only team to beat them obviously was us last year. Since they've been in the league, they won 3 or 4 conference championships in a row, but everybody is really clogged up in the middle with about the same kind of clubs. S&T hasn't lost since we beat them.
Right.
So again, I want to save the thunder, but I guess my point is, don't you feel like the league is pretty balanced this year?
It is. It really is. And we thought we had an opportunity to maybe get into that upper echelon, but to do that, you got to be consistent. And, we still have an opportunity to get there. But, there is a lot of balance. Which one of these programs is going to, hey, we're going to claim this spot and then work on the big dog,
right?
Indy, and nobody's really done that yet.
Well, that ends this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll get to University of Indianapolis here in the next segment. Looking forward to the conference leader coming in this Saturday.
Hello, I'm Mike Blackmore with Midwest Retirement Solutions. We listen to what your goals are and we try to develop a plan that will attain those goals. We can help you with planning for your children's education, we can help you in planning for your retirement, and and we help you in choosing the correct investments that will achieve these goals. Our telephone number is area code 816-792-3206. Please give me a call.
Securities offered through Parkland Securities, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Cardinal fans, welcome back to this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. And again, a noon start on kickoff. We play another the leading conference opponent in Indianapolis, which I really enjoyed that game. I still talk about that. It was so much fun last year. But we look at Indy, and we talked about an earlier segment about how balanced the conference is. And Indy's really kind of scraped through a couple wins, too. They, like you said, a 2-point thing. Why don't you just talk about Indy overall, what they've done in conference?
Yeah, well, they're a very well-coached team. They've got some offensive linemen and defensive linemen that, most everybody else would like to have as well. But they've done a nice job of winning some close ball games this year. McKendree was a 10-point game, but that wasn't until the last minute and a half. And, they beat SBU, had blocked a couple extra points to beat them. So, it's not that people aren't there. They're tough to close out because they are talented. Well,
they're very talented. They've got a great facility. That they have that practice facility that they used for the Super Bowl when it was in Indy. He really enjoyed the trip when we went there. Had a great time. The coach is a good dude. I like him a lot. He's fun to talk to. He gave me the run to the place. I got to see the weight room and all that. He was really, really a nice guy. They're in a situation though where they're trying to make the playoffs. And they were in a situation last year where they were trying to make the playoffs. As we match up with them, I think we're much better offensively than we were last year. And I think we're better defensively than we were last year. And our special teams have been a real bright spot. So I think it should be a great ball game, my point.
Yeah, well, I hope it is. And that's I think it will be. I think our kids will respond well to some disappointments this last weekend and come back and give it their all.
A lot of people, real quickly, we don't have time to go through the whole rigmarole, but a lot of people don't know how the playoffs are done in Division II. Can you give me just a quick synopsis of how that works?
Yeah, real quick. There's super regions. There's 4 of them, actually, and 7 teams from each region will be represented. They expanded that from 6 last year, so there will be some first-round byes. So 28 teams will get into the playoffs.
Obviously, ultimately, someday that's our goal. That's where we want to be, right, Coach?
No doubt.
12 o'clock start, right?
Yep.
And again, Cardinal fans, hopefully you'll be here. I like that tailgating deal they got going on. They're kind of starting a big tradition. It seems like there's more and more out there every time I drive up. We both like that.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get a good crowd because you'll see a quality game with 2 quality teams this coming Saturday. So hopefully, Cardinal fans, we'll see you all out here at noon this coming Saturday. By the way, it could be our last home game of the year. That's hard to believe and say already because we got Lincoln and got to go up to Mines in South Dakota yet. Yeah. But again, we hope to see all the Cardinal fans here supporting us again, and that'll be this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook.
If you're in a collision, why call Whitman's Car Star and we will walk you all the way through it. We do have a 24/7. That means that we have a live person on the telephone 24/7 and they will help you. CarStar nationally has a motto that is relax, we'll take it from here. That means in most CarStars you can come in and it's a one-stop shop, locally owned and nationally guaranteed.
Welcome back to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and Coach, you talked to Shawn Weigel. Again, he's a little frustrated with the game against Truman, I felt, but rightfully so. That was kind of a tough pill to swallow in a lot of ways.
Well, he's the captain of the ship, and if it's not going to be consistent, it's on his watch. And he knows that. Because I totally feel the same way he did. As an old coach, I got a little carried away, like I said, during the game, because, I really felt like we had an opportunity to win that. But Coach Nesbitt and the Bulldogs did a nice job of being consistent and staying with their game plan and executed it very well.
Now it's Indianapolis, in a game a year ago that maybe set the tone for the last 12 months. We can play them again, but this time at home. What do you see us doing in that game?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what we can do. We're capable of beating. We're the only team that's beat them in the conference. They're going to be very talented. They're going to be very big up front. They're going to have a lot of speed. They're going to be very consistent, and they're in the hunt to be in the playoffs.
Sure.
And they can't afford to stub their toe like they did last year against us, and so they'll be hungry for Barrett. I think it'll be a good football game. There hasn't really been a non-football game, other than maybe the Colorado School of Mines was a little offside, but the rest of them were in, even up at Drake.
Right.
We played well. We could score, move the ball against them, play decent defense when we needed to. We're past the stage of just feeling good about playing decent. We want to win.
Right. And we should mention that the Cardinals have won 8 of their past 13 GLVC games. We're very much involved in Division II and competing at the Division II level right now.
You bet. That's right where we're at, and that's right where we should be, and hopefully we can continue to get better at it.
Our home coverage of the Cardinals in Indianapolis will start Saturday at 11:30 a.m. We'll have live video, and the kickoff is noon. The Cardinals against Indianapolis, the last home game at Green Stadium this year. For Tim Crone and head coach Shawn Weigel, along with our director Julia Parker, I'm Rick Cole. Thanks for joining us inside the Cardinal Playbook.